Hello everyone, this is part 4 of What If Naruto Was a Jonin Sensei, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Oh my god, yelled Sakura as she threw her arms around Naruto, I can't believe it. Will you keep it down, Sakura, hissed Naruto, I don't want to be found out, okay. He looked around anxiously, making sure no one was around. This is just so unbelievable, she said, letting go and looking at him with a mischievous grin on her face. I can't wait to tell Ino. Oh god no, Sakura, you cannot tell Ino, ever. Naruto gasped, I only told you because I trust you enough to help me out, okay? He sighed, telling Ino is a surefire way for this to be known to the entire village, and the last thing I want is to have this get back to Hinata before I can tell her myself. Please, you gotta promise me, you will not tell anyone about this, please. Okay, fine, you twisted my arm, Naruto Barker. She lowered her voice to a whisper, I still can't believe that you are going to propose to Hinata. Not that she won't be ecstatic about it, but you have been dating for little over a month. Thank you, Sakura, I really owe you one for this. So, what do you have in mind? She asked. I'm still not sure, he admitted, I have a ring and all, but I'm not sure how to do it. You have a ring already? You work fast, don't you, Naruto? She smirked, can I see it? Naruto pulled a small box from his pocket and handed it to Sakura. She opened it and gasped. Seeing the ring, an elegant wrapped gold band meeting in the middle, the gold curving around the gemstone set in the center. A bright, shining diamond surrounded by smaller, duller light lavender gems. It is so beautiful, she sighed, who did you afford this? I didn't, not yet anyway. This is a family heirloom, Hashi gave it to me for her. It was his mother's and who received it from his father. Passed down to the eldest son to give to his wife and, so on. As Hashi has 2 daughters, he gave it to me so that Hinata can receive it. I see, who would have thought you to be a romantic, given who your teacher was? She said, causing Naruto to flinch slightly at the slight against his deceased sensei. And who'd have thought you'd be a non-alcoholic given who your sensei is, princess? She became annoyed, and he said, hey, don't mock my teacher, I won't mock yours, deal. Fine, but I don't get why you call him a pervert and get upset when others do. I don't really know, maybe because I only knew him as the pervert that he was. Maybe because I spent 2.5 years alone with him. Maybe I get annoyed with others who barely knew the real Jiraiya because they did not know him. That man sa death of the most noble shinobi, I think that I want people to remember he for what he truly was and not his habits, perverted though they were. He sighed, but as to why I still refer to him as that, because he was, and though he may have denied it where he's still alive, being called a pervert by me was okay to him. Sakura looked somber, you really miss him, don't you? I do, absolutely. Naruto looked to the memorial in the training ground that the two currently sat in, trying to see if he could make out his name, next to Asuma's name, carved into that plaque. I wish he could see me now, I hope that I could live up to his he chuckled, well, except the whole research thing. Anyway, said Sakura, interrupting, I will help you in this proposal. Around when were you thinking of doing it? Not sure, I told you that. Naruto looked up at her. I've always been more of a, think on my feet, type of person. I'm not the one who can really think things out, you know. That's more Shikamaru's thing anyway. True, you need to think about this though, she said. But I guess that's why you came to me, right? Exactly, so what I had in mind is taking her out to a nice restaurant and then maybe nighttime walk on a clear night. Okay, that's good so far, Sakura said, I think that you should do it in the park. Find a nice place for stargazing, that type of thing, have a blanket, maybe some champagne. Naruto interrupted, champagne. Yeah, it is this Western drink, think of it as a bubbly white wine. Okay, Naruto replied slowly. Good, she continued, lay out a blanket and pour her a glass of champagne, you know. Find something to toast, you'll have to come up with that one yourself. Naruto nodded, I would say something like putting the ring in the glass for her, but knowing your luck that would be your glass and you'd end up swallowing it. She said with a smirk. You know you are supposed to be helping me, not mocking me. Naruto sulked, but thanks for the ideas, I think I can handle it from there. Glad to help, Naruto. After all, you should not mess something like this up, got it? If you need any other help, don't hesitate to ask. The next 2 weeks passed quickly, too fast for some tastes. Naruto was training his team and they were also prepping to leave for the Wind Country village in the sand, where the next Chunin selection exams were to take place. Naruto's students could be found sparring with each other at the training grounds. Ankiko Maita and Inuzuka Kemonoi still maintained their outward dislike of one another but managed to keep it professional when on missions. Kemonwa chakra control had improved so he could now rely more heavily on his nose when performing his techniques, which rotation forces him to shut his eyes. Maita's speed and strength has progressed and as such was a much more formidable in battle. As for Hana, she's still being outspoken and loud at times, but her family's training coupled with the dexterity training she has been receiving from Naruto has lengthened the range of her vision and Juken strikes. Fang over fang, shouted Kemonoi as he and his dog took off, aimed at both Maita and Hana. Maita sighed as he dodged the technique, same thing over and over, he muttered to himself as Hana hit a couple tenjutsu points on one of the feral Kemonwa as they stopped the attack. The one that she hit turned into the dog Kuromaru as the transformation was dispelled, leaving Kemonoi standing looking worried as Hana fell into a familiar stance. She smirked, "You're in my range, Kemonoi-kun." Kemonoi raised his hand, "All right, I give. You two win." He then went to his dog and checking him over said, "Damn Hana-chan, what did Kuromaru ever do to you? Do you have to be this rough?" Maita smirked and sat down, though he didn't want anyone to know that sparring with the last Kemonoi really wore him out. Hana went over to the dog and checking with her Byakugan reopened the closed points for the poor animal. "Sorry about that," she smiled, "I guess I get carried away sometimes." "Not a problem, Hana, don't worry about it," replied Kemonoi, "I love the workout that I get from sparring." Panting, he fell to the ground as Naruto stood up. "Okay guys, that was a good session. Remember, keep on your toes during the exams and you three will do just fine." He grinned, "That being said, I won't be there to help out." "You're not coming?" asked the dog trainer. "Who said I wasn't going?" "And stop interrupting me," Naruto said. "I was saying that I can't help you, I will be there to watch but I will not step in. On this exam you are on your own, you three need to stick together." He paused, wondering how much he should say, and continued. "Teamwork will help you through this. Also remember that you need to look into everything, see the hidden meanings in everything, these exams are full of them. I guess a good way to put it is, look underneath the underneath, do you understand?" The three Jonin nodded and Naruto said, "Good, then you are already better suited for it than my first time. We leave in 2 days for the hidden sand village, you three have tomorrow off, meet at the North Gate 8 a.m. the day after, see you then, bye." With that he vanished. Maita stood up, "See you guys later," he said as he walked away, leaving the other two. Hana turned to Kemonoi after she waved off Maita, "So Chunin exams coming up, think we are ready?" Kemonoi grinned as he too stood up, picking up his dog, "Absolutely, I think we has a real shot at this, Hana." "Yeah," she agreed. Thinking for a minute she said, "Let me ask you something." "Okay. Do you want to do something tomorrow?" "Like what, Hana?" he asked. "Like a date or something?" Acting more like her cousin than she ever did, she blushed and turned her face to the ground, as he looked at her curiously. "Well, if you want to think of it that way," she said, looking up at him. He grinned, "Sure, that sounds fun. See you tomorrow, Hana. Let's meet up at noon or something. Maybe at that ramen shop Sensei keeps talking about." With that he walked off, leaving her smiling. The next morning Naruto met up with Hinata and they walked around for a bit. "So Hinata, the Chunin exams are coming up in the Sand Village and my team is participating," he started to say as he was going to miss her for the while that he was gone. "I know," she said, "I'm going to." He nodded, not really taking in what she said, thinking about how he wouldn't see her for over a month when it hit him. "Wait, what was that?" Turning to face her. "I promised that I would watch over Hana for her parents," she said, smiling. "And if you think that I would let you get away for a month now that we are finally together, you are mistaken, Naruto-kun." His face broke into a grin. "That's so awesome, Hinata-chan," he said, pulling her closer and kissed her cheek, making her turn a soft shade of pink. "I wasn't looking forward to not seeing you for that long, you know." "Exactly," she replied. "Say, Hinata, you wanna get some ramen? I'm kind of hungry." he asked. Sure. They found themselves at his favorite establishment and he was working on his third bowl. It was around noon when Hana and Kemonoi walked in together. Hinata-chan, Sensei, Hana said, spotting him, what are you two doing here? Ayami spoke up while serving Naruto his fourth bowl. Are you kidding? Naruto-kun practically lives here. It's not my fault that your food is so addictive, Naruto said, grinning before diving into the bowl. So Hana-chan, said Hinata, I see you are here with a friend, is this one of you teammates? They both nodded and the boy said, yes, my name is Inuzuka Kemonoi and this is Kuromaru, he said, motioning to the dog. An Inuzuka, huh, you know one of my old teammates was of your clan, Kiba, Hinata said. Oh, so you are Hinata? He asked, my cousin Kiba told me about you, turning to Naruto, hey sensei, you girlfriend's a total hottie. Hana cracked him over the head while Hinata blushed. Kemonoi, Naruto warned, you should learn when it is okay to say something and when not to. Trust me, you can get a lot of headaches if you don't learn. Yes sensei, muttered the boy from the ground. Wow, he is a lot like Naruto, thought Hinata. By the way Hana, you two look cute together, she said, teasing her young cousin, leaving Hana blushing as well. Well, I'm all set, said Naruto, paying for his and Hinata's meals. Enjoy yourselves kids, I'll see you in the morning. The following day the various teams were all at the gate waiting for everyone else. The teams already there were Naruto's, Shino's and Neji's. Accompanying them was Hinata, who was talking to Naruto, and Kiba, who was also there to watch his cousin. Like Hinata was leaving Naruto thinking, God, these clans must not trust me or something. He then spoke up as Kakashi found his way there. Finally, well, it seems everyone is ready, they all agreed. Okay, then let's hit the road. The Chunin exams were over, the party had found themselves back in the Leaf Village. None of the rookies had been named Chunin, unfortunately. But that meant only that they would be able to try again next time. Naruto was talking to his team, I want you three to know that I am proud of all of you. Kemonoi interrupted, but we didn't pass. He said sullenly. Naruto smiled, true, but you gave it your all and for that I couldn't be prouder to be your sensei. That said, we will have to continue your training. You were all close this time, but it was your first time. I would have been surprised if you did pass. The only rookie that I know of to pass his first time was your old sensei Shikamaru. Hana spoke up, if you didn't think that we would pass. That is not what I said, Naruto interrupted, I simply said that it would have surprised me if you did. Hana continued, then why did you allow us to do it this time? That is simple, for the experience. Naruto smiled, if all you did was train and never got the experience needed, you would not amount to much. That said, you three are better suited next time around as you will have the experience needed to pass. The three Genin nodded in understanding. Hi, they all said. Good, well then let's continue with the training and I will help you to become all that you can become, alright. Again all three said, hi. When the group had finished with the training, Naruto bade them good night and thought about an issue that had been on his mind since his last meeting with Hashi. Naruto and Hinata had been dating for only almost 3 months, and for the 3-month mark Naruto decided to take Hinata out and show her a night that she would never forget, mostly as to what he had planned for the end of the night. Hey Hinata-chan, he called out when he saw her in the market. She turned and smiling at him, hello Naruto-kun. They greeted each other with AK and embraced, and it further solidified the feeling that Naruto had that there really was no one more perfect for him than her. Even all that she knew about him she never left. She offered peace and happiness in his otherwise hectic world. He said to her, I was thinking that next week we'll have been dating for 3 months. Yes, she simply replied. Well, I was thinking that we should go out, and celebrate, you know. Make a great night of it. I'd love to Naruto-kun. Good, well, I'll come and get you at 8 p.m. on Saturday, okay. She agreed and the two continued walking together so that he could drop her off at home after her shopping was completed. The following few days passed both too quickly and too slowly for Naruto. He was thinking on how bizarre that was when it was already time for the night he had been planning for a month and he found himself at her door. He was dressed more formally than anyone had ever seen him in, clean, pressed black slacks, collared shirt with a tie and jacket. His reaction when she answered the door almost caused Hinata to giggle. She was in a lavender dress, low C-back. It was form-fitting and she looked absolutely stunning in any man's eyes. Dinner was a quiet time, making simple talk over the non-ramen entrees. Candlelight soft night was surprisingly enjoyable for him given his other activities and profession. They had found themselves in the park after the meal walking with her on his arm when, by seeming coincidence, they came across a blanket on the grass that had a bottle of champagne chilled, and 2 glasses sitting in the middle. Naruto made a mental note to thank Sakura when he saw her next. The place could not be more perfect. The stars were overhead on this warm night, no clouds obscured that view. Naruto motioned her to sit and poured her a glass. "Hinata," he said while she just watched him, "I thought this to be appropriate after all our first date. We found ourselves here. I could not think of a better place than here to do this." Her thoughts were almost running away with her. He could not mean that, could he? A blush forming on her cheeks. "You are the best part of my life, Hinata," he said looking into his own untouched glass. "I really can't imagine anyone else that is better and kinder than you." "Thank you, Naruto-kun." He smiled. Even her still slightly present stutter was perfect. "When I first realized my feelings, it came with another fantastic realization. You truly do accept me, don't you? Even given what I am, you never once faltered in your kindness to me." He sighed and stood up, reaching into his pocket. When he got onto one knee, she had almost fainted right there. "Hinata, I love you. Will you marry me?" She was silent for a while and he was getting worried until he looked up at her face and saw that she was desperately trying to answer, but no words were able to come out. She had tears in her eyes and continued to mouth, "Yes," and she held out her hand, and it was only at the point he slipped the ring onto her slender finger did she find her voice. "Why yes, Naruto, yes, I love you. I will." And she threw her arms around him, knocking him onto the ground when their lips met and they simply laid there. Naruto realizing that she had fainted once again. He did not want to wake her, he just got comfortable, with her arms still around him, and he started to drift to sleep as well. He was in a passageway. Not the normal sewer-like passage that he sometimes finds himself in, but a brightly lit corridor. There was a voice calling out to him. He started to walk silently to the end of the way where a pair of large doors with oddly familiar designs stood. Making it to the doors, they creaked open and he was in a room with a large, ancient-looking frog perched on a throne at the other end of the room. "Welcome, Naruto," croaked the elder frog. "I have been waiting for the right time to speak with you." Naruto looked around and filled with wonder walked forward and soon found himself right in front of the elder. "What's going on here?" he asked. "I have called you as there is a matter that needs your attention, young one," spoke the frog. "This is a weird dream," muttered Naruto. "True," smiled the frog, "but even though I am speaking to you in a dream, that does not make it any less real." Naruto simply stared for a moment before speaking again. "Where am I?" he asked. "Who are you and what is going on here?" "You are still in the park with your lovely friend. As for who I am the Elder Lord of the Frog Summons that you are contracted with. And you are here to take on a job that is required of you." The frog sighed before continuing, "Your old master, Jiraiya, left us in quite a sore situation. He was the Toad Sage, and as such it was his duty to gather information for us in hopes of keeping this peace that you humans enjoy so much. So why am I here?" asked Naruto. "You are here as you are finally of age to continue on with the job that Jiraiya had started. Per the contract that you signed all those years ago, you are the only one that can continue on with this mission," the elder said. "What you mean information gathering? 'Cause I gotta tell you, I am not the pervert that he was," Naruto interjected. "What he called information gathering to you is not the mission that he was charged with." The toad smiled. "The information gathering I mean is just that, gathering intel on possible dangers that loom over the horizon. This also means that as you are the last alive that is contracted with us, and you seem to have already taken on the mantle of the Toad Sage, as of now you are the best suited for this job." "Again, what job?" The old frog took a moment before replying. "He was a traveler, and so you shall be. You will wander the world gathering the information needed to protect your village and friends." Naruto looked shocked and the elder continued, "You will have to leave the village for the rest of your life and only to return at small intervals of time every now and then to do this job that you are obligated to do." Naruto realizing what this meant, knowing that he could never be Hokage this way, seeing that he could never have Hinata and the family that he dreamed of since he was a starving homeless orphan as a child, shouted out, "Not a freaking chance that I would ever do that. I love this village and I want to stay here." The old frog grew annoyed. "You act like there is a choice in the matter. You are contractually obligated to do this. It is your destiny to do this, just like Jiraiya's. To hell with your destiny, he cried, there has to be some other way. There has to be some way out of this. He looked at the frog in earnest, please. The frog considered him for a moment and sighed, there is but one other way, it also involves leaving the village for a time, but as soon as it is complete you can return for the remainder of your days. I'll do anything, just tell me what it is, I'll do that. There is possibly, another person in this world of yours that is able to carry the mantle of the Toad Sage. This person is the true heir to the Sage clan, so to speak. You must find this person, help him realize his potential and then sign over your rights to the law to him. This will not be an easy task, but if you can find him, you will be freed from this contract and he can take over. But this mission will have you gone for at least 4 years, maybe even a few more than that. He paused, would that be acceptable to you? Naruto didn't even have to think much on it. After all, what was 4 years straight compared to only seeing the village on brief stops? And never being able to realize his dreams. Of course, who is this person? He said, thinking also on how he would tell his friends and new fiancé. I have already told you who it is, said the frog, it is the heir, Jiraiya's heir to be precise. You don't mean, started Naruto. Correct, said the elder frog, it is the only son of the old Toad Sage, Jiraiya. How am I going to tell them all? Naruto wondered the next day. Damn, Jiraiya has a son. How the hell did that ever happen? He thought of the other recent thing that had happened. Hinata-chan and I are engaged, but now I have to leave for who knows how long. I wish I might have held off on proposing, as she might have been able to live and maybe found someone else. This last thought confused him. Even if he didn't propose, did he really want her to move on? If I was leaving for good and only to return every now and then to visit, then, yes, she would have to move on. I couldn't expect her to wait for me only to see me every few years, despite how much I would like that. He mulled things over, I just hope things work out and this guy I'm supposed to find will take on the job. Damn, am I really being that selfish? What if this guy has a dream of his own, a life of his own to live? Who am I to take that from him? These thoughts filled his head while he waited for Hinata to wake up. Looking at her, he stared to feel a slight resentment to Jiraiya for putting him in this position. The possibility was still in the air as to whether he had to do the job himself or if he could pass it off on another. He dismissed those thoughts, trying to place himself in Jiraiya's shoes. He had no choice before he had to pass it on. Maybe he did not know of this kid, or maybe he thought Naruto was the only one able to do so, thinking of him as his own grandson. Hinata started to stir, tearing Naruto from his thoughts. Her eyes slowly opened as he looked at her with a grin on his face, and she returned the smile, blushing. Hi Naruto-kun, what happened? She asked, still not really believing what has taken place before she had fainted. He continued to grin, but to himself it felt a little forced. Oh, nothing much, Hinata-chan. We had dinner, talked, he joked, got engaged, he finished. A tear leaked from her eye, then it wasn't all a dream. She managed to get out. No. He smiled and hugged her, and in that position they could not see each other's faces when his grew sad. No, and if it was, I wish I never woke up. Some of his despair must have been in his voice as she asked and pulled away from him, what's wrong? He didn't know how to begin and found himself struggling for words when he saw the disappointed look on her face. It was a look that said, clearly, that she was worried that he was having second thoughts on this. Realizing that he could not do that to her, he quickly found his voice and words. He explained everything that he had seen and was told, excepting the part about the other as being his old sensei's son. When he was done, she had an odd look on her face that was mirroring his disappointment, and also another look was mixed into it, almost like hope. Is there any way that I might come too? She asked. No, I'm sorry, Hinata. He said as the hope drained from her. I have to do this, and I have to do this alone. He sighed, but I promise you this, I will be back. I will be back for you, and for Mila of Hokage. She smiled again, and you never go back on your word, right? You got that right, he stated, pulling her into another embrace and kissed her softly. Absolutely right. Naruto found himself in front of Tsunade explaining the situation. She seemed ecstatic at the news of her kid brother getting engaged, but found the news that he had to leave for so long a bit disconcerting. It is something that has to be done, I understand that, Tsunade said, but I wasn't planning to have to stay in this position for so long, waiting for you to come back so that I could retire. She smiled a bit. Better this than being gone for good. Besides, there seems to be something that is upsetting the frog elder to the point of approaching me and giving me this mission. Naruto said, "Sir, I have to find this guy, train him if needed, and teach him in the intel gathering that Jiraiya taught me. Also, I have to convince him to do it to begin with, otherwise I can never come back to take your job." He said jokingly. That is quite a lot to place on this person's shoulders. Tsunade said, "I just can't believe that the old pervert had a kid. What poor woman had to put up with that?" "No idea," said Naruto, "but enough about the pervert's life," he said, grimacing. "There is another issue that I need to talk to you about." "What?" "My team," he said simply. "They will need another teacher to help them on the road to excelling as ninja, and I have a request for who it should be." "Sorry, Naruto," she said. "Ever since Kakashi went back to the Anbu, I cannot spare him from there. Like I want that lazy, constantly late perv teaching them." Naruto spat. "No, I have someone better in mind. If that is possible." "And who is that?" she asked. "Sasuke," he said simply. "I think he would be the best choice, and I trust him to do it." "I see. Well, I'll see what I can do. But do you think he will agree?" "No doubt in my mind," he said. "I trust him to get him to Chunin, possibly Jonin level, before I come back." "Very well," she said. "I suppose that it can be done." She sighed. "I wish you the best of luck and hope that you return soon to us. Got that, brat?" "Sure thing. And don't get too old, Granny," he said, smirking. As she made to strike him down, he jumped from the office out of the window. He landed on the street and ran into Sakura and Ino, who were heading to Hokage Tower as part of their routine. On seeing Naruto, Sakura walked over and stopped when all three heard Tsunade screaming at him from her window. "Is that how you say goodbye, you little bastard?" The two looked at a grinning Naruto, and Sakura stuck him in the head. "Barker, what the hell did you do to Tsunade-sama?" "What?" he cried. "I said bye in the same way I always do." Grumbling, he said, "Why the hell do you two have to get so uptight when I am myself?" "Because," interrupted Ino, "you are an idiot who will piss off a lot of people if you continue to act this way if you ever become Hokage. You need to learn to treat people with respect." "Hey, I treat people with respect when they deserve it," he shot back. "All right, enough," said Sakura, seeing her fellow Sannin come very close to insulting the Hokage again. "Besides, I have something to ask you." Glancing quickly at her friend, then back to Naruto as if to ask, "Is it okay to say anything?" She asked, "So did you ask her?" He nodded, grin forming. "Yeah, and in answer to the next questions I am sure are coming," she said. "Yes, and yes, you can tell Ino. Kami knows it will find its way around the village. Why try to slow it down?" At this, Ino looked excited. What happened?" Sakura smirked as Naruto steadied himself, vaguely thinking maybe he should just run or something. "Naruto and Hinata are now engaged to be married." The sound was deafening. Ino, squealing like the 12-year-old schoolgirl she once was, hugged Naruto. He supposed that she congratulated him and then ran off to find Hinata, leaving Naruto and Sakura. Sakura could read something was wrong with her friend and asked, "What else happened?" Naruto sighed. "Come on, let's go for a walk and see Sasuke. I have quite a bit to tell you both." His two friends took it quite well. Sasuke agreed to watch out for his students and train them as they should be trained, because, as he said, how can they expect to advance having AA for a teacher? The two of them also promised to keep in touch with him in the return messages that his frog summons will be delivering for him to Hinata and them. The next day he would be leaving, and he said goodbye to the various people and friends that he made over the course of his life. He was a bit shocked to realize that he had quite a few good friends. From the old crew he used to cause mischief within the academy, he, Kiba, Choji, and Shikamaru got together and said the goodbyes as Naruto planned to leave in the morning. Choji said that he would miss the ramen eating contests that they has and swore to have more once Naruto returned. Kiba promised to watch out for Hinata and again swore that if Naruto left her and did not return, then he would track him down and drag him back. Shikamaru called the whole thing troublesome, especially when Naruto suggested that he at least try for Jonin rank and stop slacking. Having said goodbye to all his friends, including the Konohamaru Corps and Team Guy, he went one last time to see Hinata and meet with her father. In his last meeting with Hashi, the older man expressed his disappointment that he was leaving for so long, but also promised that he would keep her from being given to another in an arranged marriage by the clan elders. This worried Naruto for a moment, as he never considered that to be a possibility, and still gave his assurances to the Hyuga leader that he would return as soon as possible. The night he spent with Hinata almost convinced him not to go or to take her along. Even though he knew that was not possible, but she was sorely testing his resolve. They talked for hours and he told her that he would write her every chance he got to have if sent with one of his frogs. They spent the night on the roof of his apartment star watching, and he held her in his arms as she tried to stay awake to have the absolute most time with him that she could. You know, Hinata-chan, eventually you will have to let go of me. She replied playfully, and what if I refuse? What if I hold on to you as you try to leave? Man, Hinata, you make it sound as if I will never talk to you again. Like I'm dumping you or something. He sighed, as much as I would love that, I'm sorry but it can't happen that way. You know that. I know, she said sadly. That does not mean I have to like it. I mean I finally got you and now I won't see you again for who knows how long, right? I know, but I swear to you I will come back. You know me, I will never break a promise. It may take a while but it will happen. I know, but I wish that I could come with you. So do I. With that they were silent, just laying there watching the stars. As Naruto thought, God, I wish that this kid does not refuse this job. The next day at 5 a.m., taking care to place Hinata in his bed in his apartment, he got ready to leave. Packing clothes and supplies into his pack and sealing some larger things into traveling scrolls, he was ready, and his sleeping fiancée awake, she stirred and got dressed, walking with him to the gate. He wanted to leave in quiet and she was the only one there. As they reached the gate he turned to her and holding her hand her one last time, just keep busy and I hope that the time passes quickly. She said goodbye one last time and stood at the gate archway with the two Jonin guards off to the side until he became a small dot at the end of the path and finally disappeared. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.